One sec, because my capture is not showing. Oh, yes, we're on now. And one more one. Can you guys hear us? So, hello everyone. Good morning, good evening, good noon to all of you who are watching now for the podcast. We are now in episode 5, and we extended our topic for this episode. We are going to talk about customer service experience, and at the same time, we are going to talk about as well in-game harassments for that other players are experiencing. And if we have time, we are going to talk about Plasma 6, Plasma 8 release, and at the same time, Wako the hero. So for this video, we have Vivid, we have Gwen, we have One Man Destroyer, we have OZ, and we have Mistress Genesee back. And then Dark will be joining with us a little after maybe 1 hour. And I am with Leo again, the annoying Leo of my life. And later on, maybe our people, Trip, Uncle Gio, or Nagan is going to join us. So, hello everyone, and welcome to the podcast. Leo, take it away.
Oh, what's the topic again?
Now you forgot about the topic. You go to the stage and you can see the list
Yeah,
of the topic there.
yeah. Okay, so as usual, we are extending the podcast experience. I think we met last time what was the actual experience, thought like how to get answers from service, or how to get in touch with them. That was the discussion, but it was not. The discussion is about how you have been approached with service on different platforms, what the answers you got from them about the game or the questions you asked. So who will be the first one? Did you wrote that, Harry?
The first one will be going with the OZ, and then Vivid. Next will
Okay.
be Jonesy, and then One Man Destroyer, and then will be Gwen. And later on, if Dark is going to join us, she will talk as well.
Yeah, I'll be broken up, Jonesy. I don't have good internet connection.
No worries. I was just worried that it was my connection.
Okay, so
Okay,
do I start with my experience?
sure.
Okay, so I am in state 360 now, been playing about a year now. I have my experience is two parts. The first part is the good part. There was during a capital clash, we had a bout with one of our opponents, and one of these guys actually put up a name that was very insulting to one of our players. It happens a lot, but this time it was definitely above the usual banter. It was really bad. So what I did was contacting the customer service and report the name as being insulting. I didn't receive anything back from them, but the question, my question was resolved because after probably an hour, inside an hour, the guy changed his name and sent a message to uh, the guy he was insulting to the effect that he had done a nice move, something like that, and that it worked. So he was forced to change his name. So the intervention was quick and was very effective. Um, on the other side, I want to caution on the fact that the attention to this type of matters is very limited. In general, I think in customer service, the attention is very limited. They don't really pay attention to you unless it's a serious matter like money or things like that. So the next episode is actually quite bad. In our state, there is an alliance that likes to play in the limit of the mechanics of the game. They actually like to say that, that's the mechanics of the game. In effect, they try all they can in order to bend rules without actually going against the rules. So what happened? This was an alliance of our alliance, and we basically broke up in every marriage. And so they had a lot of alts in our alliance that were difficult to detect. So they had a lot of spies. They had a lot of spies all over, but in our alliance there were quite a few. So once we had a very peppery discussion. It was not insulting, but it was full with terms that are not like really to be used in public. But we were in our alliance among friends. We thought it was all good. This what they did is they used this spy in our alliance to take snapshots of the conversation. And first they went on Discord trying, to put all the state against us as being vile and, foul-mouthed and all of that and insulting. They didn't really manage to do that because, the conversation was not really insulting. It was really just, peppery in a way. But then what they did is they just took snapshots of a single swear word and the name of the person that was actually putting up. So they did not send screenshots of the whole conversation, just the name of the player with, a swear word, 4-letter words, that was it. And they flooded the customer service with a request of intervention. Without knowing them, if it was like a private message, if it was on a alliance chat, if it was on a state chat or whatever, right? And so a whole lot of our players, I think it was like 4 or 5, got reprimanded by the customer service. And the only reason why we know that they had used this tactic of just taking a snapshot of one single word is because one of our players is VIP12, and he had a customer relationship manager. So he managed to ask what was going on exactly, and all he got back was this little snapshot with his name and a swear word without reference to anything. So effectively, something that is supposed to be for the good of the players is being used quite easily and quite effectively to attack people that were just doing, having a conversation, however, foul you want to consider it, but conversation among friends, and nobody should really care about what is said among friends. Otherwise, we are in Big Brother situation. So that was pretty bad, and it was actually quite a fast intervention as well. I think it was within few hours that we received all these complaints. That was it though, because we didn't have any of that experience again, and I don't know if we would have gone further if there was gonna be anything major. The threat was to mute the account, which I really don't know exactly what it is. If it is that they will take away your ability to send messages, or just switch off your account, or sending to another state. I have no idea, but that was exactly what they mentioned. And that basically concludes my experience.
So they did really ban the player, or like muted, or just
No, there was just a warning. They just said you've been found to use insulting terms toward another player, and if you continue, your account will be muted. This was the message received.
Yeah, I can confirm that muted is they literally just stop you from sending messages for 24 hours, and then your next warning is 3 days.
Okay. Okay. So that wasn't a huge threat, to be honest. But I don't know if they can go any further and actually stop you from playing in the state or whatever. That I don't know.
All right, thank you for sharing with us your experience, Ozzy. And let's go with Vivid to share her experience. Be it, I'm not really sure if what is she going to share with us, guys. Welcome, Vivid.
Hey guys, thanks for having me. Okay, so where to start? I had a few weeks where I had a player. He just picking on me, whatever. It was a single player, constantly spamming stage chat with calls my name, saying a lot of inappropriate stuff, and that went on for about a week or so. I didn't report it. I just blocked the player. I was trying to get away. The player wasn't getting the attention he wanted, so he decided to steal my picture and Photoshop it. And he photoshopped um, male male parts into my mouth and wrote his name on it. And then he changed his game name into my alliance name. So he didn't have my alliance tag, but he made it look like it had my alliance tag, and he put my name on it, my game name. So it made it look like it was me. And at that point, people were infuriated. Our state was Migo at that point, so I had dozens of people like from Migo channel and our state just messaged me like, I reported him, I'm so sorry this happened to you. I was doing the same. Weeks and weeks of back and forth with customer service. Always the same standard messages. Can you provide proof? We would provide proof. Can you provide proof again? So we did that dance for about a month and a half until I eventually left State Chat. Like I stopped chatting in State Chat, stopped chatting in Migo. Like it was just highly humiliating. It was highly condescending. Like it just really, really upset me because it's not something that you do. And during all this time, he kept using that account, that my picture was always there. People were seeing this. He kept saying terrible things, writing terrible things, and we couldn't get him muted. We couldn't get him banned. We got him, he disappeared for 24 hours once, and that was it. Things died down. This was back in March. Things died down a little bit. A couple of weeks ago, I log into game and I have a 72-hour mute on my account. And obviously, I was like, okay, what's going on here? Because I know how I conduct myself. I know how I speak. I know exactly what the rules are. Very involved in SOS. I know the do's and don'ts. So I was pretty shocked at that. I kept messaging customer service. Why am I muted? Why am I muted? And customer service would reply back with, due to privacy reasons, we can't provide you with the reason you're muted. And I was like, what privacy? You muted me. It's my words. Like, give me my backup. They wouldn't give me anything. Like this took a while. And then I demanded, I'm VIP 12. I never really cared to be in the VIP 12 Discord or have the rep. I was like, okay, I want my VIP 12 rep. So they flipped me to Millie, got my VIP 12. And then Millie finally sent me the proof of why I was muted for 72 hours. And in the meantime, while all this is happening, the player in question is constantly spamming stage chat, calling my name. He's just going on it. The picture got taken down eventually, but this player is still there. He's still saying nasty things. He's still saying very sexualized things towards me. Um, so that player is still active, and here I am muted. I'm dead silent. Um, so Millie finally sends me the backup, and the backup was somebody screenshotted just the portion of the conversation where after being harassed for the longest time by this player, because when this happened, I started getting DMs from a specific alliance, asking stuff like, how much can you handle? And oh, you like it? And very, very bad, negative sexual messages like that. So I was at my wit's end. Like I didn't know where to turn. I just didn't know what to do. So after seeing so many spam messages with my name there, I finally responded, sorry, I'm too busy taking whatever it is out of my mouth. I can't respond. And they muted me for 72 hours for that. So Millie kept apologizing. I'm so sorry this happened. I'm gonna take this to our technical department or whatever they call it. I don't even know what they call it. And then simultaneously, I'm getting messages from customer service ignoring my request for the backup because I didn't tell them I had it, ignoring my request for the backup and just, can you provide uh, proof of harassment? And I kept saying, I don't care about the harassment right now. I want to know why I'm muted. Let me know why I'm muted. The harassment issue has been dealt with or hasn't. That's not what I'm talking about right now. I want to know why I'm muted. And that was it. They kept responding to me with stuff like, well, you shouldn't say dirty words. You should you should conduct yourself appropriately. Phrases like that. Like, I'm not even paraphrasing. I can provide screenshots. It was just, they just added insult to injury by making it look like I was a bad one in all this all of a sudden. And nothing's been resolved. I mean, this was March 18. They muted me for something in March 18, and I gave up at this point because they were just going back and forth, and I was just, there's no point. There's really no point. They don't have any customer service training. They don't have any customer service skills. They don't know how to talk to people. They don't do proper investigations. Um, and in the meantime, they're condoning this type of behavior from people that get away with murder, basically, because and they would, even if they muted one account, this guy had like 3 accounts and he just kept going back and forth with all his accounts. So it's been March 18th, so it's been what, 2-3 months now. It's still not resolved. It's still ongoing. I just gave up on it. I still have other states messaging me and saying, do you want us to keep pushing, do you want us to keep escalating? But nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to change. I mean, at this point, it is what it is. This is our customer service for you. You spend thousands, even if you don't spend thousands of dollars in this game, you should have the right to play comfortably. You should have the right to not be exposed to this stuff. And I don't know. They have access to all the conversations. They should be investing in their customer service because we pay them enough for that. They should be investing in training. They should be investing in proper investigations and how to talk to people, because telling me don't say dirty words or conduct yourself appropriately is just not okay after all they put me through. Like, it's just not okay. And that's my little story for you.
Thank you for sharing your story with us, and I'm sorry that you've been experienced that, and that is sad that you are the one who has been harassed, and you are the one who has been muted for a reason. I think this is the reason why I think this roots out as well that not all states have the mods, or I'm not really sure what is the schedule of the moderators when they moderate in game states. So they can only see what is happening currently in their states. And at the same time, those people usually report people. And I agree with you because I am on the same boat before. I don't know this person, but he is slandering me in every state that he is. I don't want to drop his name and I don't want to name shame him, but he knows that in every state that he is playing, he is slandering me for no reason. I haven't talked to this guy. I don't know him. He just know me that I do videos for YouTube for State of Survival, and he started slandering me everywhere. And I can't even, if I'm a content creator, I can't even have him muted. I can't even have him banned because he is a VIP 12 player. I think if we are going to be asked when it comes to harassment, this customer services this game should put an example, regardless if that player is suspended or what. Give it an example and not giving us an excuse that they are just going to add more account. Yes, they are going to make another account, but if they invested in that account, say $10,000, $5,000 invested in an account, and an account got on hold or banned, then that will be an awakening for them. And before we continue, I just wanted to give this floor to Gwen because she is going to have her reservoir raid in 1 hour, I think. So your stage is yours, Gwen.
Gwen
Can
got
you
mic
guys?
problems?
I think she's having mic problems. I can't hear her as well. Maybe she can rejoin and try it if we can hear her.
Here. Okay, so I think we move on to Jonesy till Gwen figure out about the issues.
Okay, no worries. Oh, hello. Gwen, you there? She just turned green.
She has her mic on, but we can't hear her. Maybe we can try start with before she's been trying to fix her mic. Maybe Mistress Jessie can share with us her experience.
Yep, no problem. Ours was a bit disgusting, really, with child abuse, female abuse, sexuality abuse. He was sending private messages as well as blaring all over state chats. One thing customer services don't like is private messages. They cannot investigate private messages, which is just, I'm flabbergasted at that, to be fair. We sent so many screenshots to them, and they just said, no, we can't investigate private messages. It's only state chat or the public chats. So him screaming out into private messages to 16-year-olds in our alliance saying I want to shove my fingers and blah blah blah. I won't go into details. They just got completely thrown onto the pile of we're not investigating that. Also, when we did report him, we were told for privacy reasons, same with Vivid, for privacy reasons, they can't tell us the outcome of the investigation either. So we did actually notice that he did get muted for 24 hours, and then he came back because it was constant hounding of PMs and state chat, sending banners across with disgusting messages as well. At the time, banners you couldn't actually report, but you could report the normal messages. I think they've actually changed it now, so you can actually report banners. But yeah, after maybe about 3 months of hounding customer services with screenshot after screenshot after screenshot, one stage they actually closed the case because he changed his name and they couldn't find him. So I just went to my PMs and went, here's his name, open up the case again. And they did that to me about 3 or 4 times. So yeah, he got muted 24 hours, then he got muted for 3 days, and then all of a sudden he disappeared, and then he came with a brand new account, so he must have had another device or something. So we just started that all over again. He did that maybe for about 4 accounts. So this whole thing was going on for months and months. Thankfully, we've not seen him for quite some time now, so we don't actually know whether customer services stepped in and banned his account or he just gave up. So, but they did actually mute him. We know he got muted. We've only ever had a mod in our state once. He lasted 1 day. He, instead of muting the dirty beep that was sending these messages, he decided to mute one guy who was jokingly having a joke selling his account. So that mod lasted 1 day. And that's my story. Is Gwen back?
Thank you, Jancy. Hi, Gwen. Are you back?
Is it working?
I just still trying to figure out what's wrong with her mic. See if she can talk.
She's green,
She's
so
so
I think she
quiet.
is talking, but
There's a problem with her mic or probably with the app that she needs to restart that. All right, let's do that again and add One Man Destroyer in our podcast. Hi there.
All right, so mine is pretty simple, starting with customer service. I guess I've had some good, some bad. When it came to good, it was actually earlier before they revamped the customer service. I just talked to them because one of the dailies didn't give me my crates and stuff like that. And I guess they're able to come in and review like who gets what, and so they resolved that pretty easily. And in my mailbox, I got the rewards that I should have gotten. But came to the bad customer service. I was rebuilt a couple times for like pretty big packages, and I sent it to them, and it's kind of like you just get an automated message back. They're like organize everything, and I already sent them like a full Excel sheet of different things and the order numbers, but they just said they couldn't resolve anything because it was Apple's side. So I went to Apple, and they're like, "Nah, it's the game side." I'm like, "Okay." I just eventually gave up on it. And so when it came to, let's see, harassment inside the game, there's this one time where customer service was used because one alliance that was purposely against ours, our alliance came up with like, during SBS or during Capital Clash to just all make ourselves like one thing. Like I think one was Smurfs, one was like movie characters, and then the enemy alliance just started putting up like pretty bad photos of things, and so we reported their photos, and their photos went down too. But then they started reporting ours, and all of ours started like going down. And my logo at that time was like what you see now for Discord. It's like nothing bad, and they took it down. I was like, I PM'd them like, what? And they're like, we got like, 2 complaints about this. I was thinking, well, I mean, can't you look at it yourself and see that it's fine? But they just said they couldn't do anything about it. And so we've had a couple times where people have been spamming or harassing, especially in SBS, actually. We've gone against some states where they'll just dog on some of the ladies in our alliances. And we've reported it, but it seems that some things don't get done in SBS. Like they can't control the enemy state. And the enemy state even had a moderator in it that was doing the same thing. And we were like, what the? So we reported moderator. I know I'm VIP 12, but I don't have like that special thing. And so some of the other people in my alliance do, but they did it. And so they think it got resolved, but by the time SBS was over, they were saying how they resolved it. So we never really know the real outcome of what happened. Yeah, that's pretty much all for mine. It was nothing too serious, but there it is.
Thank you, Vanda, for sharing this. Do we have Gwen back, or she is out?
Hi, Gwen. Are you back?
Mike shows mute, so probably that's the first thing.
Yeah, she's still muted. I think still probably still trying to figure out. Well, the beauty of live stream. Technical difficulties that we are good at. But I think she's speaking now. Hi, Gwen.
Can we hear me?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes, we can now.
finally.
The
Finally.
floor is
Okay.
yours.
Okay. So, my experience was with harassment in the game. My alliance dealt with a large amount of harassment, both alliance-wide and personally directed. Ours was a little different. We had people that were making mockery accounts, mocking our name or our alliance. They made an entire alliance mocking our whole alliance and put all of these mini accounts. So the problem we had was we could report it to customer service, except we could only report their mini accounts that were basically copied our names. And we couldn't, customer service couldn't trace it to their main account, which was really the issue. They were, verbally harassing us in Discord. Obviously, customer service couldn't do anything about that. And all of the mocking that was done on state chat was not enough, according to customer service, to mute them or block them or punish them in some way. But it was enough to, aggravate everyone because it was very personally directed. And that went on for about 3 or 4 months that we had that. And there's not a lot that you can do except ignore it, and that's what we did. Our whole alliance just learned how to stay off of state chat and ignore all the comments and put aside the rest of the world, basically. I wish I had more to offer, but I mean, it's just a terrible situation when it happens to anybody, and they need to fix the problem.
Thank you, Gwen. And Trip is here and Egan is here, and since they are in VIP 12, and for those people who are in the VIP Discord, I got a question for you guys if you wanted to answer that. But before I go there, I wanted to read this customer service feedback from Crimson that I haven't done. And he or she said, my experience, like most of it, is terrible. There's been times when a message has not been responded for weeks, instances in which I'm asking about a specific event going on, and they get back to me days after the event, which makes my question moot. For the most part, it is a generic response, and really, there's never an attempt to assist in the situation other than they say, we will pass your concerns. I just sent a question asking why people are getting thousands and thousands of arrows out of the blue, and I'm sure there will be some generic bullshit response to that also, and nothing to address how I am negatively impacted by it. I don't think they value the players at all. That is his comment or customer service experience. And since Trip and Megan are here, and since I know that these two are VIP 12 and they are in the VIP Discord, I got a question for you guys though. Up to you if you answer this or not, or those are VIP 12 in the VIP Discord. Since there are a lot of harassment and some of these people are actually spenders, not just we are not talking about harassment in games when it comes to gameplay, the usual attacking on tiles or something. It's not about that. It's more about in a general uh, perspective when it comes to harassment, be it sexually, be it like not just sexual, but also those people who are threatening other people, even that affects their real life. I wanted to hear your opinion on that. Is that really, or do you think being a massive spender makes them safe or protected from being muted, regardless of their attitude? I think Chirp is just listening, and Megan is also listening. I'm not really sure who is. Okay.
Hi, Teddy. Hey, everyone. I'm going to say one thing. Spendo or no Spendo, I don't think their customer service actually cares, should I say, listens. Either way. Um, but what I can say is from my experience in the past, I have had someone report me, and they don't really care if you spend or not. You get a warning. But that's all there was to it. And this came from a farm account, by the way. Anyway, see what I'm trying to say is, as a spender or a non-spender, not much happens when it comes to customer service. It doesn't matter whether you've got a GM or not, whether you're in VIP server or not. I mean, a guy in the VIP server is from the 600 state, one of the 600s, and we all know that's one of the new states, new states, and to be able to get into the VIP server, we all know how much you have to spend, and for him to be there, he must have caught up already with the rest of us. So this is a perfect example that he has messaged GMs and has been waiting for over a week now about a little bug that he's had in the game that is making his game experience a bit bad. And this is not just harassment, this is a bot. So if a spender can't get that kind of response from customer service, I'm not sure anybody else would really. So from my side, GMs really no, they seem to be a lot like customer service, like copy paste and hope the problem is solved kind of thing. I don't know if any of you guys are on there or got your GM yet, but if you do, then you probably can see what I'm trying to say here.
Thank you, Trip. And Negan is here. I want to listen or hear from his own experience. Oh, and Dark
Teddy,
as well.
sorry to interrupt. Yes, I was about to tell you Dark has joined.
All right, so Dark is here, and let's hear from her experience, be it in customer service or whatever uh, experience she get have. Hi, Dark, and welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me. I'm actually really excited to finally be able to talk to someone about my issues. So I have like a chart kind of I made up because it's a long story and I don't want to take up a lot of time, but pretty much this started back in January, and it kind of started out as just like one player just kind of being angry at everything, made his own alliance, whatever. It's a game. People get angry. It's a war game. You lose troops, you win troops, whatever. But we had a player, and we still have a player in our state, an older player. I'm not actually sure how old she is, but she's older. She's got kids. She's been married. And she actually has a mental disability. She has had brain surgery. She currently has a brain tumor. And a few of us knew it on the game. And once he knew about it, he just started verbally attacking her, harassing her. I mean, actually, I believe she's like 44. She's actually listening. But I mean, I have screenshots of the stuff he would say to her, harassing all the females on the server. I sent screenshots to customer service multiple times back in January. It's continued. But anything from going around the censors, because you can, most words are censored in the game, but you can go around them if you put periods, if you put spaces between the letters. He's told people to kill themselves. He's called them, I believe I'm allowed to say it. So he's called them retards, bitches, slappers, which is a slang, a British slang, heifers instead of calling them fat. I mean, whores, cunts, you name it. He has openly said it in state chat and in private messages, mostly to the females. I think all the females, actually. He's made, pedo comments to a player whose profile picture was him and his son, just a picture of him and his son, who's like 7, I think. So, I mean, homophobic comments, he literally just pressed every single button. He became enemy of the state very quickly from the governor. So anytime there's an event, none of the rules apply to him. Like whenever someone finds him in game, because he has 4 accounts, we post his coordinates in the state chat and we just go hunting. That's just what we do. Because every time we've reported him to customer service, like Trip was saying, we get pretty much a canned response. It's, this player will be dealt with. Thank you for bringing it to our attention. If he does it again, let us know. That's all we ever got. But after the comment he made to me, where he didn't say go kill yourself, his English was kind of weird. He said essentially just go die. I screenshotted it, added it to the list of things I reported to customer service. And what irritated me also is I use an iPad for this game. And once they close a report on customer service, you can keep scrolling up and you see all of your previous conversation. So they definitely had a record of the stuff I had reported. But once I reported this one thing that he told me to kill myself, I said, look, he's essentially breaking your own game rules that you can't, that's a threat. And their response to me was, "We're so sorry. Greetings, survivor. We have punished and banned the players you reported in accordance with the game regulations. If you encounter a player who made illegal comments again in the future, please report it." So I was thrilled. I'm like, this is great. I messaged back. I said, "Thank you so much. We in 440 State really appreciate it. We've reported him numerous times." And I asked, "Did you ban all 4 of his accounts?" Because every time I reported him, I would show screenshots of literally all 4 of his accounts. Like, we all knew it was him. So I said, "Did you ban all 4, or did you just ban this one? I will provide proof that these are his. I will provide proof that these are his accounts again if you need." And they said, "We will deal with his illegal accounts in turn instead of a one-on-one, because this is not a small project. Please rest assured, we will deal with the situations seriously." So I'm like, great. So about a week went by, and all of his accounts were kind of scattered between 2 alliances. So I didn't really think anything of checking on where that one account was that I had reported. And I looked back at one of his alliances, and all 4 of his accounts were moved back to that alliance. And they're all high-level accounts, so he couldn't have just made a new account in the time they banned the other one. And he had simply changed the name of the one. So I contacted customer service again. I said, with a screenshot, I said, "This was the account that you told me he banned. This is the account I'm looking at now. It's the same level. It's the same everything. He changed the name. He's talking to us through this account. You did not ban him." And I contacted customer service about that about 2 weeks ago. They just responded to me on the 15th with a canned response saying, "We forwarded it to our technical team." So, I mean, he's openly taunted staff, even saying the staff will never ban me, which is why I'm pretty convinced at this point that customer service is biased. I mean, he seems like the kind of person who would blackmail someone, just from my experience with him. So I kind of almost think that he has something on the game, and he's threatening them, if you ban me, I'll release all this other information, which I don't know if he's really doing that, but there's no other explanation I can think of why customer service has now blatantly lied to me. And that the girl the main girl he was harassing still plays the game and has quit the game multiple times because of the behavior of him, because he singles her out every time. And I mean, the only good thing that came out of this was there were several people, like I said, he was declared enemy of the state. So there were several people in the server, in the state, and still are, who, whenever they see him, they will actively hunt him. They will actively call him out in state chat. And essentially, really, we just have several servers where we just post screenshots of the stuff he said. And just keep reporting him. But it's just an ongoing battle. I mean, that was back in January. Just the stuff he's doing is not something you want to see in any game. I know a lot of adults play this game, and that's understandable. It's not a kid's game, let's be honest. But for that to go on for that long, with all the evidence I've given them, and at least 2 other people have reported him, I don't see any reason why customer service would let it continue unless they really just did not care. They made a deal with The Walking Dead and everything, which is great. The game's making money, but at the expense of the players is really the problem. And I'll keep reporting them. I have no problem. But at this point, it's obvious they've just kind of started ignoring my reports. So, unfortunately, there's just really nothing else we can do except continue to hunt him. And unfortunately, he's also a spender on the game. He must spend a good amount of money because he has grown. He's getting close to stars on his accounts. And my only worry now is that once he starts getting stars, he'll be able to attack anyone in the game that he wants to harass and just decimate their accounts on top of the verbal abuse. I mean, we try to attack him when he has troops at home, so that he has to rebuild. He's gotten debuffs from the governor before and stuff like that, but he just keeps on. Now it's a game to him, and just how he treats people, it's just It's disheartening. If I hadn't put money into this game, if I hadn't been playing it for this long, I would have quit and switched to a new state long ago. But at this point, it's kind of the principle of the thing, I guess. So I'm kind of sucked into it. But yeah, I mean, overall, it's a really bad situation. I just kind of wish customer service would listen to us. So yeah.
For sharing your experience. It's really awful that this things piling up keeps on going, and the developers and the customer service does not take care of the women in the game. They are literally harassed. I cannot imagine the experience you are sharing and actually living it, but still you guys are really strong. Share this and to the community.
Can I intervene?
Yeah, sure.
Um, what looks clear to me is that this is not only horrible, but it's definitely acceptable. It would be unacceptable for a free game, let alone something that you pay this much amount of money for. There are issues that are very complicated to come across, as creating an alliance of alts and all that. But there are some issues that have been reported that are really straightforward, and I don't see any possible conceivable reason to ignore them or not to solve the issues or not to address the issues at least, if not for complete lack of interest in this type of issues. And it is, to be honest, completely unacceptable. I mean, this for me makes the game unplayable. I don't want to invest in a game that supports, because this is what it is. It supports a toxic environment where people can come and say whatever they want and not being, sort of banned or have nothing happening to them. So for me, it is a deal breaker. I've heard things that I wouldn't expect, to be honest. And this is really shameful to the company that doesn't take these issues seriously. I mean, the harassment that have been reported here are, I mean, so egregious, so bad that in certain states it would be breaking laws. So to be honest with you, the lack of intervention from King's Group is extremely bad. I mean, to me, it's a deal breaker.
I agree. And also to add to that, I know that there's quite an extensive training that goes through when someone wants to become a mod on this game. And I have to give it to them. They really put those staff members through the ringer to make sure that they're up to par to be staff members. But in my state, I've been playing, since, a little bit before January. I have to be honest, I have not once ever seen a moderator of any sort go into the state chat for 440. I was on that game more than I'd like to say when I was unemployed for 7 months, and I've never seen a staff member, and that also shows a lot. I mean, even if you just want to compare it to a game like Minecraft, and like some big servers on Minecraft, you see staff in chat all the time. They'll play with the people, they'll not play with people, they'll watch over the people. You will see them everywhere, and not once have I seen them in this game. I've even been to a couple other states a few times, with alt accounts. Never seen staff in those games either. So for as much as they, if you contact a staff member, because I've gone through that route, generally people will respond to you pretty often if you directly contact a moderator. I just don't know where they are. Like, I have honestly no idea where they put their staff.
Yeah, that's true, and it's really disappointing to see this. The money the people have spending, they have a lot of money and they can implement a better customer service experience to the players, but they just don't want to do it.
Yeah, Dark made a very good point there. There's so many states out. There's what? How many states have we got now? 700 plus, and there's so many out there.
752?
I
Wow.
think we are close to 800.
Okay, nearly 800 states, and what? The majority have probably not got a single mod. But then there's a fair few that have got 2 or 3 mods in there, which I was always under the understanding that if you applied to be a mod, then you had to actually go to a specific state to be the mod, and they'd spread them out. It just seems a bit unfair, or I don't know, it's just not right that they're picking and choosing where they want to go. Mind you, if I became a mod, I'd want to go to 271 and screw around with them guys.
I hear you there.
I
We
think
actually have someone in our
then-
state who applied to be a mod for that reason, just so they could specifically mute and start warning this one player as well. So I get it.
Wow. Yeah. When I applied to be a mod, I got the email, I got the invite to the server and everything, and I got the email saying the requirements: you have to do 4 hours of work, and the payment is 20,000 biocaps per month. I don't now, this is a long time ago. I don't know whether it's been changed or not. But at the time I was thinking 4 hours a day for that just doesn't add up at all.
That's
No,
a full
thank you.
job right there.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's absolutely ridiculous. So that's another
You're
pay.
going to do 4 hours of work every day for that?
Exactly. So that's why I turned it down. But yeah,
Jeez.
I mean, that's kind of ridiculous. I didn't even know that. But I mean, like, yeah, I could spend 4 hours a day on the game, but I would want to play the game. I wouldn't
Yeah,
want to be
exactly.
staff for 4 hours. That's ridiculous.
Sorry,
and
I
they
was
may
a
well have
mod
changed it.
way
This is a
back.
good 6 months ago.
I was a mod for a little bit, and it's not. If you could do your 4 hours of modding in the game, then that would be easy because I spend that time in the game anyway. But they want you to be on Discord modding. That's why I quit, because they want to see those 4 hours on Discord. So it's very, very complicated. It's very, very hard to be a
Let's
mod.
say
So props out to all the mods because it's not easy. And they don't have a lot of power. They really they truly don't. I mean, the best that they can do is try and deflect situations. But it is very demanding. It is, and they are 1,000 times more prepared than customer service ever will, and that I can say with confidence just from having played that part.
To be fair with them though, like in case some of the players doesn't know though that, as we all know, or some of us know, that moderators are also players, but just because they are green, they have limits on what they can do as well. All they can do is just report whatever they can see or help you report for any issues that you will have, but they don't really have the power to enforce or do these things. Like, for example, force it to the game team, extend it to the game team, because they need to follow certain hierarchy, I think, on the ranks, that if you're green, you need to go to your higher ups, and then the higher ups is going to report this, or the green is going to report. I'm not really sure how does it work, but I know for a fact that they don't really have that huge power to, they can only report it to the specific person that handles all the complaints and the issues, but they cannot really force this to happen. And then at the end of the day, it also falls down to the customer service, which is a different department as well. And like you guys said, that if they are only willing to invest to their customer service and make it better, I think some of the problems that we are having will be listened to or be sorted or even fixed. But I'm not really sure. And before we go to number 2 topic, I would like to hear from Negan about his experience for when it comes to customer service, or anything that he can talk about this topic. Hi, Negan. I think he's at work. I'm not really sure if he's listening or he's at work. So I think we go to number two of the question, and this is actually this is a question of Jonesy that I want to share with you guys. So for the second part is personal dealings within state harassment or trolls or whatever harassments you have or the customer service experience. How did it get resolved and FCS was involved? How long it take for an action to be implemented, but I think we all covered that one out already because when you tell your story, you share with us if they are sorted or not. And then the last one will be the question is what is your take about your experience and what should the game do to make things better for players? I think we should start with OZ and then we go with Vivid and then Jonesy, Gwen, and then Dark and then One Man Destroyer, and then after that, Trip and Negan can add on, or also Leo.
Okay, so what exactly should we talk about in terms of how to improve the experience? What type of questions are we discussing? Like game mechanics or the environment between different players? What is it? I mean, can we narrow the question or we can go everywhere?
Maybe we can just close with the customer service experience and at the same time with the gaming environment. And then for the other gameplay and other feature, we can handle that for other topics as well.
Okay. Well, I mean, of course, the main issue for older states is that there is a natural tendency for the number of players to diminish, right? Accounts just leave and you end up with very few players. Of course, it's been discussed over and over again, but the merger of states is essential for older states to survive. I think there are very few states that are older and still active. I am in 360, and we are already down to three main alliances, and accounts are dropping like crazy. Now they've announced P6, 7, and 8 with some of the requirements, and I've had already inside 2 days 3 or 4 people saying that they will stop playing. Just because the investment that they are seeing it's needed in order to keep up. It's not worth the experience, right? So that is a must for older states to survive. Then of course it's a question of how you balance between super spender, medium spenders, and free to play. Because it is clear that super spenders are the king of the games, and that's quite reasonable. But I think the fact that it's impossible to challenge them, it makes it quite frustrating to play a game because you feel compelled to sort of spend as much in order just to compete. One of the issues that I've seen very recently is with Waco, right? We all know that Waco is super powered in Reservoir Raid. Okay, so what happens is that Reservoir Raid is something that anybody can enjoy because matching with similar level. There have been issues about finding somebody with this similar level, but on average you have a chance of having a good fight. You might lose, you might win, you might win easy or might lose easy, but in general you have a bit of fun. Now the question is, Waco comes out to every single state at least, and what happens is that whenever you are going to play Reservoir Raid now, you are guaranteed to find somebody with Waco, which makes it absolutely unplayable for you if you don't have Waco. So the only place that was sort of a safe haven for free to play or low spenders or people that are not willing to spend too much too quickly is being effectively destroyed, because the only way I can still have fun in Reservoir Raid now is if I pay to have Wacko, and I resonate with gold. Otherwise, it doesn't really matter. So it is difficult in my point of view to organize a game that is both aiming at high spenders and also at the rest. One way I can think about it, and I've been telling a few people as well, is by increasing the randomness in the battle engine. So of course, if you are a high spender, you want to have an advantage on average. But if you're guaranteed to win every time, if you have a 10% advantage in stats, then it kind of gets boring. You already know what's going to happen. Yes, the dynamics are hidden, but once you discover that, once you're overpowered, there's nothing you can do. If you add randomness and you say, oh, this one was bad luck because it happens that from time to time, even if you're stronger, you actually lose, then it would actually create an environment where there is a lot more chances for the underdog to give it a go, right? Say, if I attack it 5 times, there is one time which it might work. So if I put enough into it, if I have enough alliance members, if there are enough people with me, if you are smart enough, we can actually do it. But it doesn't look like we are going in that direction. I think we are basically just repeating whatever has been done in the past, and P6, P7, P8, then T11 gonna be T12. The red gear, instead of 2 tiers, is gonna be 4 tiers. Then we're gonna go into hero gear probably, and so on and so forth, right? And to be honest with you, I've seen a lot of people really getting bored of the game, and especially being resentful at the amount of investment they had to do for the little they're getting in return. So yeah, I think it's kind of complicated to get solutions to these problems.
Thank you, OZ, and thank you for being with us in the podcast. Let's hear from Vivid this time.
Hey guys. Yeah, I agree with everything that Ozzy said. There is a huge discrepancy between P2P and F2P for sure. I am a pay to play player, so I do spend a lot of money in this game. And I kind of do it to help my free players as much as I can in the alliance. And I'm so sorry for my daughter singing in the background. But to me, I mean, they're getting thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars in here, like I said before, and they're nothing without their players. So invest in that. Invest in training. Invest in better quality of support, so that when you go to customer service, you don't feel like they're slut shaming you on top of everything that you've already been through. Would be a nice thing. And it's a social game. This game, at least for me, and I'm sure for a lot of people, was a COVID-19 escape to help cope with what's going on, and just to have a safe place to come in and play and have fun and meet tons of people. And that's what it is. It's a war game, but it's a social game. So invest in that and look at that, see that. Don't discriminate players. Don't treat players differently because of what they spend or who they are or how you feel or what your background is. And recognize that, make it more enjoyable in that sense, because that's what's going to retain the players. I mean, I speak from my alliance. My free-to-play players will stay for as long as the people that they play with, they're there and they're having fun together and they're figuring it out, no matter how strong or how weak they are. So that's what they need to look at, because when people leave, they're not necessarily leaving the game because they don't like the game. They're leaving because their social, or at least I find that the social aspect is just broken and it's not there anymore, or because they've been harassed, or because they're not listened to, or because they're being taken advantage of, or whatever the case may be. So that's where I see a huge gap. Yes, I do see a huge gap in the pay scale and all the stats and all that stuff, but I do see a lack of caring and a lack of commitment to the players that make State of Survival what State of Survival is today, basically. Yeah, so that's my 2 cents.
Thank you, Vivid. Let's hear it from Jonesy.
Remember whether I was next or not. Sorry. Yeah, I completely agree with Vivid and Ozzy. 100% they need to invest in customer service. Like right now, I'm on 3 weeks and 4 days, and I still haven't had a reply from them. Even if it took like 2 or 3 days, just respond. Let us know that you're actually looking into it. Just say, just a hello would be nice. Just to say that they're actually, yes, they've read the actual message. I mean, that has actually gotten me down pretty badly, because you're playing the game, you're playing their game, you want them to listen to you. But then we've had the same thing about repetition of events. We've all sent in feedback and we've all said, give us some new events and new stuff. But it's all, even when they do bring out the new items and things, it's all the same repetition of events. They're not, there's just no ideas and no imagination in their events anymore. It's just repeat. Well, that one got some money. Let's repeat this one again. So yeah, whatever money that they are making, which must be a lot, they need to invest more in customer service for sure, definitely. And that's me.
Thank you. And next is Gwen. Hi, Gwen. Is your mic okay?
Yes, my mic is great, but I'm
All right.
in the middle of my reservoir raids.
How's the
All right, I
res
think
raid going?
good luck with your reservoir raid. I think before you, let's try to listen to One Man Destroyer until Gwen finished her reservoir raid.
Good luck on it. Well, basically, let's see my experience on how we could help the game. With it comes to the spending divide, there's a whole lot of people that, like the previous people have said, have just died out. I mean, when Plasma 8 came out, I have people in my state finishing Plasma 5 and still on Plasma 4, and so it's like, it's almost once you finish, they just keep it going, especially when this game was a game opened up inside a time where many people were losing their jobs or not able to financially afford to be the top player inside the game. And then you have these alliances that come in that are only full of people that spend a ton of money on the game, that just pretty much, if they're bad alliances, they'll keep everything for themselves, and it just becomes pretty futile for the ones that don't spend to make a huge impact if they're not inside of that alliance. I know mine, like, I've spent quite a bit on the game, which isn't that good, but it's kind of what I thought that you had to do, until like I finally learned that you can do stuff that's free to play. But I feel like a lot of people don't realize that, and I feel like they should be kind of like a limit on how much you can get ahead, because there were people like when I was HQ 20 that were already like HQ 30, and they sped up and they were just going around wrecking people and just destroying other people's fun. I know one alliance does that especially. They just will daily attack people, and it just leads to no progress in the game. And so my state's dying out pretty fast because even now the spenders are getting bored because there's no one to hit that they're not scared of. And I couldn't really think of things that they could implement right now. Maybe in the future, while they're adding new states, they could make every other state like a spending state. I don't know. Saw one guy saying that there should be like a free to play state, but that could mess up some stuff. But if they have enough people that are willing to go into a free to play state, then they could have things like, Blood Sport and SVS and stuff like that. And that's all for me.
Thank you, Destroyer. And is Negan there? Or Trip?
I think Darkest is to share her experience about like overall experience, how she looked at it, the customer, how they can improve it.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything so far. I really agree with the idea that customer service could really just, every couple of days, just let us know they're still there, instead of just closing the ticket. Um, Let us know that they're looking into it, or even if they just ask, hey, do you have a little more information? Or, hey, while we were looking into this, did anything else happen? Let us know that the ticket is still open and not that we're being ignored. Um, I mean, when it comes to free to play or pay to win, I started out free to play. I really tried to stay free to play. Um, and it was easy when you first start out because they give you so much, and people would give me stuff, which was kind of nice. And then it turned into like, well, this one bundle would kind of help me, and then it turned into, well, this other bundle will help me. And of course, you try not to spend money, you try to stay free to play. But like they were saying with the new hero, you're gonna have to spend money, you're gonna have to buy it, and if you don't, it wasn't like the last couple of heroes were like, oh, I don't really need him, that's fine. But this one you need if you're going to do Reservoir Raid. And that's really like a punch in the gut to people who, like you said, started out during COVID, they lost their jobs. I was unemployed. I have a job now, but it's I have expenses. You have to live. This can't be everything you're paying for. You need to pay for food, your rent, all this other stuff. So if you're playing this game seriously and you take like a week off, everyone else who was playing this game jumps in battle power, and you are so far behind. You have to spend more money to catch up. Um, my state is 440. We're not a new state. Like like Negan was saying, we're dying. We have two, maybe three alliances that are the top alliances. They have sister alliances that they don't attack. Everyone else is fodder. That's just how it is. And no new players join our state. And honestly, if a new player joined our state in the not to play on words, but in the state my state is in, I would probably tell them to switch states, just because they're not going to get anywhere. They're going to be too far behind. Even if they dropped, money, it's not worth it. And in the new states, I've considered making an account in a new state just so I can try to start fresh. But I know it's going to turn back into the same thing. I'm going to go from free to play to pay to win. So I think they have to invest in customer service. They have to invest in making more things that are not so much easy for free to play, because some of the events they've had, I've actually managed to get stuff without spending money. But just kind of maybe even alternate it, so that people don't feel left out. And the state the world's in right now, people can't just drop money like that. Well, most people. So yeah, no, they really have to work on that. That's my biggest thing.
Thank you, Darkest. Okay, Negan, are we ready or? Now we lost.
We can't hear him too. He's probably at work now.
Can rejoin as a speaker again. Rejoin the
He has to rejoin, and before I rejoin, I would like to say something. So since we are all dealing with all these customer experiences issues that we had for how many months already? Was it the first quarter of 2020? It was better when customer service actually, before that customer service template started asking us to rate them 5 star. The previous customer service was a bit, not the best, but at least a bit better compared to what we are having now. And that made me decide to talk with one of the contacts from Kingsgrove or SOS, and I asked them how do they manage that. And one of them said that it's actually the report that they are getting, because I think they are having a different department now that handles customer service now, and that person or that department always sends out report daily. And they said that on that report it shows that there is an increase of data when it comes to customer response speed as well as customer satisfaction. And I've made a point for them that the data can be fabricated every time. If you are not focusing on that, if you are not, it's like teaching. If you left your students and you are out as a teacher, these students are just going to copy from each other or fabricate their answers. It's the same with customer service. If they are not being checked and the other part is just waiting for reports to see if how they perform, probably they are just going to get fabricated answer. And I was like, did you guys ever try to check every reports or every concerns of your players and see the response of your customer service? And that's one thing that they haven't answered me yet. I hope that next week they are going to at least reply to that question of mine.
And yeah, I agree with that. When my issue first started, I was getting responses from customer service pretty frequently. I mean, maybe 2 days would pass before I got an answer, but then I would get an answer. Whether or not they were actually warning the players is besides the point. And of course, now, like I said, I'm on like, I'm on like 2 weeks before an answer. So it was definitely better before. And of course, they have lives too. I understand that. But like we've said, just focusing on getting your customer service better. If they're fabricating it, like you said, which they probably are, because I mean, not once have I ever rated any of them. Then that would be something they should look into. Just don't you can't in any company you can't just look at a report and say, well, this is probably it. You got to check up on those things once in a while.
Yeah, and they
Yeah,
have. Well, I was gonna say, and
please
they have
come.
plenty of resources to improve their customer service. I mean, their mod team for their Discord is very good. I mean, they're very good at responses. I've put in a couple things lately, and they're really instant about submitting it straight to customer service. But it just shows that they have plenty of resources to make into more customer service representatives and stuff like that. If they gave the mods a little bit more power, which could work in a good or a bad way, it would work really well because there's plenty of really active people there.
Yeah, and I think this is what actually would make the difference. I hope you can hear me now, guys.
yes,
Yeah, we
Thank
can.
you.
Welcome to the podcast, sir.
The iOS update, I think they changed some of the settings for the privacy or whatever reasons, and now it works a little differently. But either way, the company has already invested quite significant amount of resources and money into the customer service and mod teams and various hierarchies and infrastructure. What they essentially need to do is to empower the investment in a certain way. If we look at our own best experiences in the customer service, then probably with that
Was he cut off, or was it me?
I mean, I
No,
can't hear him either.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I can't do it.
Negan, you're cut out.
Teddy, may I speak
No,
now?
Yep, you're back, Negan, I guess.
Yeah, after Nigan. Go, Nigan.
Hello. Yeah, so
Yes,
what I mean is that
sorry.
if they would empower their own customer service by allowing them to resolve the issues on the first contact, I think that would improve, the overall satisfaction tremendously. Because if I would go to any customer service and I would get an immediate response, an immediate solution to my problem, that's when I would be satisfied. On the other side, if I would go to a customer service, any customer service, and then I'd be footballed around to different departments or different managers, or I would be asked to wait, and I would require to escalate things, then this is where I will not be satisfied. So looking at how they already put a lot of money and efforts into establishing the mod teams, the infrastructure, etc., they should essentially allow those mods or allow their customer service to try and resolve the issues instantaneously, instead of saying that they will forward our requests to someone, they will review them, there is other team responsible for my issues, etc. I think that would be a very easy win for them in terms of finding the solutions to our problems, especially considering that the infrastructure is already there, the mods are already there. Some of the states don't have them, but the majority, I think, does have the mod team. And the general Discord has the mod teams, and then we have the customer service application, or part of the application, where we go with our issues and concerns, and they just need to kind of be able to resolve them on the first contact, and that would be an improvement, I think.
All right, thanks, Negan, and let's hear it from Uncle Gio.
Hello all. About customer service. Customer service, the problem is not that you don't have the manpower for that. They don't have the knowledge how to address and how to solve and solve the problems. Not Ozzy. One man said about the greeny team they have in Discord. Yes, there are too many, but they ignoring the game. They ignore the game, so they don't know how to answer correctly and respond to the majority of the problems. So far, my problem with community of course, they have something to say. They have they have some excuses about, for example, in Migo, in Reservoir League, the Migo points doesn't address to every team the same, and they ignore that, and they didn't give the correct response or the feedback to the mods to reply and say it's okay when a team is in raid league could take only the basic points, but in the normal raid they get all the points and so on. There are flaws, of course, but we cannot all the time aim the support because they didn't get the proper feedback. About Waco, as I seen it now, and I seen the response also in the discussion channel, and I most appreciate the Aussie points of view regarding Waco. Waco is overpowered. What they need to change now is they need to change the mechanics, or not give Waco and Daryl the mechanics inside the raid, because yes, it's changing. It will change the outcome, especially now. Even the teams that get Waco also we have disadvantages against other teams. It might change the strategy of the raid now, but that change in the middle of the raid league is very devastating. Okay. As far regarding the older states, yes, I'm very concerning about the new outcomes and about the plasma and the other stuff. And as I seen it in PTR, there are many elements to calculate. I don't want to keep on that topic now because, of course, you may address it afterwards. So I might say my point of view afterwards. But generally, I agree with Ozzy, and I agree that they move the states rapidly. It's not the problem of the players. It's their problem that they increase states, they push the new states to go rapidly, go on and go on and go on and expand it in years, in stats, in everything. And when I hearing people complain, why we match it with with the Gen 4, with the state in normal rate, for example, with they have Gen 5 or more Gen something like that, and I explain because you increase your battle power of the clan too fast, and the algorithm of the game match you with an older state that have the same battle power, but you're missing the heroes, you're missing the elements. So don't complain. It's up to you. It's as my friend Maupa said in the first podcast about the new states, the guys that go rapidly to battle power and reach 1 million, 1.5 million, etc., in 3 or 4 months. It's very crazy in my eyes, because they force such things to happen. They enforcing that mismatch in raid, in normal raid or whatever. Okay, that's for me. Okay, I'm keep on listening. Thank you.
Thank you, Uncle. And I think we already covered most part of our topic. And before we go, I think we are going to ask this most awaited question for you guys. What is your opinion about the release of Plasma 6 to 8? Who is going to answer for that? Anyone can answer that. And after you guys, whoever wants to answer, the floor is open for you.
I'll answer that first. I'll be leaving game. 100%. Guaranteed. I will be leaving game.
Yeah, I mean, I barely have my blue stuff done as a slight pay to win. And I've already encountered players who have max red. It's just it's not worth it. Like, I can't even imagine how much money they had to shell out to get that within like 2 days of it being released. But I mean, it was just a massacre at the Alliance or the Fortress fight. So it's just it's not fair, definitely.
I won't be. Oh, sorry.
Go on.
Oh, I said I won't be eating food for a while. I'm joking. But yeah, I think it's a mistake because there's only a few in my state that will be able to get it, and yeah, they're leaders, but they're only in one alliance, and so I think it would cause a collapse within many states where you have one or two major alliances that are just always fighting each other, and once Plasma 8 comes out, the first alliance that gets it is just going to eat the other one, and then it becomes boring for that alliance and it just dies out.
That's the problem I have in my alliance. It's like, you know, the three top alliances, they already have red, and just watching them in any fights, no one even shows up to the Fortress fights for them now. It's just, oh, they signed up, okay, it's theirs. You know, it's not fun.
Yeah, the majority of feedback I've got about this whole Plasma 6, 7, 8 is we've been asking for state mergers for how long now? And they've just been putting it on the back burner every time. And now they're bringing out the red gear and plasma, more plasma stuff. And you can't even use your plasma that you've been hoarding either. Before the red gear came out, I was actually maxed for like an hour. Let me enjoy it.
That's
I
the
was
same
not
with
happy.
me.
No.
All right. I'm sorry to butt in, guys, but I just wanted to announce the code for those who are listening. You can claim the code. The code is stop leaking the codes. That is on lowercase, guys. Stop leaking the codes.
It's like the best code name I've ever seen.
Good code. Good code.
Agreed.
I need to remember or make codes that are really hard to figure out because some of the codes that I made actually run out before we start the podcast.
Um, I want to add a bit to this Plasma 6 to 8. As some of you know, I'm mostly in PTR, in test server, just for my own fun. I don't. I just go to see what's coming, basically, and of course, PTR most of the time to me is similar to Reservoir Raid, where I go in, fight with people for things, and then go back in the game. Nothing changed. But as for Plasma 6 to 8, it really put me off. Like, I understand, of course, they've got to make money. It's a business. Just like every business, will always try to push something better, something different if they see money coming in. And we all know that ever since they released Plasma, all that has been happening is players maxing their headquarters and forgetting about the rest, like gear. So of course Plasma has been selling a lot, so they will release it. That's why they went from level 30 to Plasma 3, and then from Plasma 3 to 5 real quick. And Chief Gear is what, 2 years now? But he's gonna not only kill the states even more, but he's actually going to push back what feedback we have been giving, what we have been asking from them. Main topic that people have been asking for is state merge. State mergers are needed in a lot of states. So we were told back in, was it November, December, that yeah, they're gonna work on it. We'll hear in 3 months, within 3 months, and we didn't hear anything. So we tried something else, and then we were told June. And then they pushed it back to July because, of course, we understand Migo event. But if I'm right, and I really hope I'm not, every time we have seen something in test server has been released within like any time from 2 weeks to 3 months period after it's been shown on test server. So if I'm right, and I hope I'm not right, Plasma 6 to 8 will come at the end of Migo event, which means they're gonna push state merge back again. Honestly, I have been sticking around mostly for the people in my alliance, and most of them have been just telling me, let's just go mad, have a good weekend, just fighting everyone in the state and live game. I mean, the top guys, the top spenders. So the way I see it is, it would be fun, and then just leave game. If they do end up pushing state merge after July, then after Migo event, which is around the time when it's supposed to finish. State merge is meant to be coming. So if they end up pushing that again, then personally, me and few others, I think we might as well go and play COD. But yeah, it would maybe next year. I would say if they released Plasma 6 to 8 next year, this time, yes, I would understand that, because that not only will it give state merge a chance to be implemented into the game, to be worked into the game through testing it with some states, which what they want to do. So if they did release Plasma 6 to 8 next year this time, or let's say next year, I don't know, January time, maybe so. Maybe that would be good. But any time before January is gonna not only kill all the states even more, but even newer states. And as I can see a lot in newer states, people are not sticking together as much as older states. In newer states, a lot of people will go in, start spending, oh, yeah, I'm bored. They're not doing something to like make my game better, so they just leave. So not only will they kill older states even more, but even newer states will keep going more and more dead. Anyway, that's where I stand with that. Plasma 6 to 8. Next year, guys, next year. Keep pushing for them to bring it next year, not this year, please.
Yeah, I think the question of timing is really important because if you slow down the progress, what you're going to achieve is that people that don't spend that much sort of catch up naturally, even by spending a little bit, or just by doing free-to-play stuff, and that sort of levels the play field. So you get another rush to the new power level of the ones who want to invest and they want to play to win, and that's fine. But then you have a period in which other people can catch up and sort of level the playing field. And I think this is going to be good also for max player, because after a while they're going to realize that it's going to be very, very boring to be just 5 players that cannot eat each other because everybody's 1 billion power. And what you're going to do, like kill 6 million troops and whatever. It's just minion that you just go around and say, oh, sorry, I need to kill at HQ 30 because I need resources. It's I think it's boring, and a lot of the people that are dropping in my state are actually the top players. The strongest that they were up until a month ago. They basically don't play anymore. I think they need to really look at it carefully, because it might start to hit their bottom line. They're not going to make as much money if they keep just churning out new states and just keep the things as they are. They need to look at how to pace the development of and the release of different power levels, so that everybody can play. Because you've seen exactly what happened in the first 350 states. Now they need rescue, need a merger, because there isn't a lot that they can do. So not sure. I think it's a really difficult question to solve. But yeah, I think they will need to really think carefully. And that's it for me.
Agree. And I just wanted to read this message from. I'm not really sure why I'm hearing myself.
You are, you're echoing.
Yeah, I'm hearing you
Yeah,
too.
we're all hearing it twice.
Oh,
Leo, have you got it on loudspeaker?
Let me see it. Can you guys hear me?
Yes,
Yes, but
All right.
with echo.
twice.
Who is Enrico now?
I
I
think
saw him in
everyone has an
the
echo.
There we go.
Oh, open it! So I just wanted to read this. I got a message from a player, and this is his message to one of the general manager, I think, and I just wanted to read. This is for his message to the general manager in behalf of his state from state 328. This is from QP, and he said, I have a suggestion. I heard you are going to open Plasma 6, 7, 8, and T12. I think the best will be after merging or transferring. We as players, and as we pay a lot of money as well, I don't think we are paying in a boring state, and some of us, they have a dead state. There is no fun at all. How do you want me to get excited about a game in a boring state or a dead state? The best is merging, transfer, and then you release Plasma 6, 7, and 8, and because everyone is upset. I send my voice and all the people's voices on my state, and I heard that many players wanted to quit. Also, what I mean is impossible for a player to invest in a game without excitement or fun. People cry and complain, are tired and bored, and they want to merge or transfer. After that, then do the Plasma 6, Plasma 7, 8, and T12. That's what he said.
I'll probably be in minority here, but I guess the timing for the release of the new plasma levels actually is, was earlier, and then they essentially delayed. They essentially delayed it for whatever reasons. And the reason I say this is because if you look at the leaderboards in our states, or at least in the older states, at least 100 players have already reached, P5s. And probably the population of the P5s is significantly larger than 100 people per state nowadays. So from the economics perspective and from the state dynamics perspective, I think there is a need for further upgrades on the HQ levels and further growth for some players. I don't necessarily think that having 20, 25, 30 maxed accounts in the state essentially brings the balance to the state. On the contrary, very likely that those 20, 30 max players would be sitting in one or two alliances, and that would bring huge power to that alliance, or those two alliances, and would create certain disparity across the state and disbalance. So if the developers are providing us the avenues with the avenues to upgrade our plasma levels, I think that would create additional push for the top players to invest the efforts and money and whatnot in continuing being on the top, but also differentiate the alliances and the players from each other in a better way. It would also give the edge, for certain alliances in certain states versus the other states in the SVS. And I would guess it would change the dynamics back to how the game was at its inception when we went through the upgrades from HQ 30 to 3 stars. I think that period was fairly active, and I would think that developers are looking to repeat that curve, albeit maybe not on the same level, but at least allow some players to be ahead of the general curve while the majority of the state being on a certain trajectory, and kind of balance the dynamics slightly. Another point is the cost of the upgrades, and at this stage we don't really know how much it would cost to go through say Plasma 6, 7, 8. but an estimates show us. I mean, at least my estimate was around 30,000 plasma to reach the P8 level, which I think is a little on the high side, considering that it was costing around 21K, if I'm not mistaken, to go from P30 to the level 30 to P3, and then another 20,000 from P3 to P5. So I guess what they need to look carefully at is the cost of the upgrades rather than the necessity of the upgrades. I still believe that the upgrades are necessary. Another aspect of the new P6, P7, P8 is the new material which is required for the upgrades, and I think this is a little strange in a sense that the game had been very good at positioning plasma as a valuable resource in the game for quite some time. Now suddenly that valuable resource becomes somewhat irrelevant, and we're getting introduced a new currency in the game, and that currency will be converted from the old plasma at a certain level or certain conversion rate, which I think is not really justified. So if I would look at the issue, plasma 6, 7, 8, I would rather look at the details of it, how much it costs, how it is upgraded, or what are technicalities of it, rather than at the point, whether it's necessary or not. I think it is necessary, and the states require further growth, not just in the troop power or the gear, but also in the HQ levels, etc. So I'm sorry to disagree with panelists here, but I think the game has to continue growing, and one way of doing it is to have some of the players ahead of the curve. Right now on PTR, I am on level P7, and I was able to do that with the little stock that PTR allowed me to have from my general stock on the live server. So it's very likely that the big spenders that we already have in the States that would be able to achieve P7 fairly painlessly with whatever they have already in their backpack, and the devs just need to kind of balance and think carefully of what the economics are in the game and how to implement the overall cost structure into the growth model. Yeah, I guess that's my opinion.
Can I say one thing? I believe that of course you need to make a judgment only after you actually see all the details. But here it's important to see also how you communicate new features, because what is happening, what I have seen happening with my own eyes, is that this announcement of P6, P7, P8 has been met with disheartening resignation from players. It wasn't excitement. It was like, yay, we do something else. It was like, what, I should invest even more just to be doing the same thing again. So irrespective of how the play is gonna end up being in a month time, 2 months time, or whenever they're gonna release it, now there are players that are leaving, and in my experience, in the stage where my state is, probably older states are sort of in an equilibrium where people that decided to keep playing, they don't move in and out. But in my stage, we are effectively 250 active players in the state that are really meaningful, and a lot of these people are thinking of leaving. And to me, players are the important wealth in my state, because if I end up with just 50 people at some I hate, some I love, and we're gonna be just a faction, it's gonna be really really boring, and I'm not gonna invest €1 in spending more time in this type of situation. So I think it is important for the developers to communicate things also in a way that they entice people. So probably in older states, this new feature is eagerly awaited. In my state, is dreaded. So at least for most of the players, probably a couple will be enticed, but the rest are just not really happy. So there is definitely some communication issues, however you want to look at it, as a positive or a negative, but definitely there is a communication issues, because it's just by saying that, by just saying, oh, guys, we're doing P6, 7, and 8, people are leaving your game and leaving my state. That means making me less, giving me less enjoyment. I think that is a big mistake. So that's just how I see it.
No, I completely agree with you. Because I have a bit of an older state, and there's some players in my state that, I mean, no one can touch them. Like maybe like two players are kind of top of the state. They can kind of battle each other, but they're in the same alliance, so they're not going to. And everyone else really just tries to play catch up. And we've had quite a few players leave in the past month. Because because of real life, because of spending the money, they didn't want to spend more money. In the past, like when I first joined in January, there was quite a few players that left because this state was starting to die, and they left to start in new states. I've checked with them since. They don't even play on those states anymore, because it's just not worth the money. Like, yes, I love a game that develops. I love a game that comes out with new things or more things and keeps upgrading and developing. That's awesome. Every game should do that. It should not be stagnant. But if you're upgrading at the expense of leaving players behind, the majority of players behind, not just like one or two, that like, I can't get my mom's credit card, but like the majority of players who just don't want to spend anymore, and then killing the states that are older, and then not wanting to merge, eventually the developers are going to run out of room. And if there are any older states that have players, they're going to have to shut down those states and force those players to either quit, or they'll have to find some way to move those players to a different state. And then they'll probably quit because they won't know anybody. So either way, the developers in the long term are hurting themselves. And I mean, really, they're digging their own grave. And it's a slow process. But I mean, you see how many states we have. They open more states so that they get more money from new players, because the older players don't do it anymore. And it's just going to get worse. And it's really sad to see, because the game itself is actually a really fun game, but just how it's being handled, unfortunately, is the downfall.
Yeah, I would agree with Negan that they are going to. They have already using it in DR. The problem is how users are needed for the game, for the group. But the thing is, they are not health. I don't think users are going for
Leo,
any of the.
sorry, but we can't really hear you properly, and I don't think it is easy to follow what you're saying.
You're breaking up a bit, Leo.
Oh, I don't think so. Like, I cannot speak anymore. I guess the connection is really bad then.
Oh, no, it was good. Sorry.
Now you're fine.
Now it's good.
No, it's better. Just go closer to your mic, I think.
I need to hold my phone near my mouth now. Okay. So yeah, I was agreeing with Negan that these new features are needed, and how they are going to release it, it's up to them that how much time frame they are going to release it. in parts with P6 first, P7 second, and P8 last. But there should be a communication also, because the health of the states with the state mergers is not going to solve anything, because the actual gameplay is really lacking. They are just releasing the stuff which people needs to spend, not the actual gameplay. The rewards are like too much. It's nothing. You spend 12 hours, 18 hours in the Migo event, and the rewards are just like shit. So overall, these new features are needed, but how they are going to implement it, it's a question.
Agree. Agree. I would agree to the both sides, but like I always say in every episode that we have is the game as the game develops for age, they usually grow and add development. The only problem here is, like I said, is the transparency. It's not just about, yeah, they can release as is, because if we are waiting or checking out the timelines every 6 months, they usually add massive upgrades or features to the game. And this upgrade is actually on time and even delayed a little because of that leakage last time. But what I was asking, or what I was talking about, is maybe if they are being transparent to their players, or at least fix one of the reason why the players are getting angry. Let's say the customer service, that's one thing. Maybe if they are being going to be transparent, and if their customer service is going to work th- like how they should be working, then that is somehow going to lift some of the annoyance or the anger of the players. If it's how it works in real life, isn't it? We deserve, or we need customer service to give us answers to the questions that we need. Like, for example, when it comes to just buying simple things, and we need customer service to assist us. And if they are going to give us the answers or fix our issues in a timely manner, probably that is going to make some changes in the game, be it on the environment when it comes to gameplay. They need to be transparent, like give your players a roadmap on where is your game is going to go, or where your game is heading, and not just drop items. Like, I understand that this is going to be disclosed because they don't want, or they fear that the players are going to run out or get angry for every feature that they are going to release. But at the same time, they should be mindful as well. Like, players are their customers, and customers deserves that, be it on any aspect of that, be it customer service or the gameplay or just clarifications and things that we players need to know.
Um, see, I agree with you, Teddy, and I do kind of agree with Megan. And look, the game will develop and will keep going up and up and up. Plasma 6, Plasma 8 is not the end of it. We all know that. We're gonna hit Plasma 10, 15 sooner or later. Now, the game it should be looked at as a marathon, not a sprint. Yeah. So I do understand that yes, some of us, some states do need the Plasma 6, 7, and 8. But when, like I said earlier, when you get a guy from a state in the mid 600s join the VIP server, he has already caught up with what we've spent. But when he's complaining about things that, the guy was mostly complaining about customer service, and yeah, but then of course when he's in Plasma 6 and 8, then he thought, oh, okay, this is where we slow down. So not only are they going to hurt all the states by making people like want to quit because of it, but not everybody will. A lot of people will be like, nah, I've invested too much. I'm staying. I'll invest another one, another same again. But when all the state people quit, and then you've got new guys like that turning around and be like, whoa, okay, well, if we took this much, then it's not worth it anymore, then you are going to kill the game. Not only like the older state, but the whole game. So the game has been going for 2 years. There is all the similar games have been going for way longer. But a lot of people quit on them, and for the simple fact that they started releasing everything real fast. But I don't disagree with you, Negan. Obviously, the whole, yeah, we do need something new. That's fair. And by looks of things, next headquarters level will be a yearly thing. But do need other things first to make the game a bit more exciting. Hey, if they can bring some kind of event that will make the game exciting, state mergers will not be needed. They can push state mergers even more. But the problem is they haven't come up with an event to make the game exciting more than like it used to be. All we've got is Reservoir Raid and, of course, now SVS. State versus state, okay, they made it a bit with a twist now because, the battles are harder with all the red zone and everything. But once I speak for myself, last state versus state, once we got our coordination together, that was it. It was just a downhill to victory. We was winning. There was no way us losing. But events like Reservoir Raid, that's where you don't know what's coming. That's where you don't know what the strategy is going to be, what strategy you're going to need to use. It's things like that. If they come out with some kind of event like that, but more often, not just every 2 weeks, or oh yeah, you go against an alliance that has advantages compared to yours. If they come up with something like that, state mergers can be pushed another year or two. But
I think they have already come with a similar event.
Yeah, and
blue
they're making the
mining-
steps in that direction, Leo. You're
Yeah,
right. I mean, we have Migo now.
yeah, the blue mining event is kind of a short version of Reservoir Raid, but it's inside the state, not a different map. They are looking at a perfect roadmap, but the thing is the other gameplay or other events like dying, and people are not trying to beat on those events because the rewards are not good. Also because of the gap between the players, stronger players, and the players are really big because of the rewards in the event. So actually, the roadmap is really.
And I've noticed something. I mean, I don't think it's just me because other people in my state feel this way as well. But when state versus state comes around, there's quite a few of us who pretty much just bunker down and hide, because the state versus state, it's fun for the people who have the money and who have the big accounts because you can help. But if you don't have those big accounts and you're free to play, or you just haven't developed your account to be like the biggest and the best, you're useless during those fights and you're fodder. Yeah, so the issue with that too is also the attitude of the players, your own as well as the players in the other state, is just toxic. Like I said, we don't have any moderators in the chat, so they come into our state or they come into our chat and they're just toxic, or we're and completely bashing us, and there's nothing you can do about it. So really you just kind of hide for the whole weekend because there's no point even looking in the chat. It's just discouraging.
It's not actually fun.
No, not at all.
just don't look the chat and start fighting, only fighting. Ignore them. Okay, it's a part of strategy. Some they using the harassment as a part of strategy. It's wrong, I understand. In my point of view now, with the new plasma, the trick is not adding the new plasma. The trick is that adding something that is also lottery inside the game. The lottery of constructing those extra plasma cores, or how they call it, blue plasma or whatever. It adding more lottery stuff inside game. So far we have the lucky bundles, the lucky crates, we have the Ray Casino, and now to purify the plasma or something like that becomes lottery. Lottery, and you cannot calculate it. It's against some laws. I mean, in many states around the globe, there are laws that prevent the lottery games inside in common games like this. It doesn't say anywhere that there is contest inside the game that is lottery. That's the biggest issue.
Yeah,
I agree.
It's a big issue. Absolutely. There are certain states in which it's actually forbidden to do these things without knowing exactly what are the odds. And this game is full of randomness that is not declared openly. You know, the lottery for the lottery tickets is one example, but you know, anything, even the roulette with in race plays, it's all, you know, you don't really know what are the true percentages, and it's to be honest, it's really annoying. But you know, this is also a cultural thing. In some places, randomness is you know, is considered exciting and fun. But in other places, in Europe, for example, if you play a random game, you need to know what are your odds, because you don't know. Otherwise, you don't know what you're paying for. So you know that is the sort of a fair thing. You go into a casino, you know if the roulette has got 1 0, 2 zeros, or you know, and so you know what are the odds. And in here, you almost never do.
Ozzy, I can agree with you on that. And if you actually look into actual law, I think in Europe was actually made against. It is actually against European laws to have casinos or anything like that in a game. I don't mean casinos per se, but like race plays, for example. But there is a way that obviously they can argue back with it, because you don't spin race plays to actually hope and pray, see what you get. They do turn around and say you spin race plays to get the packs that you unlock at the top left of your screen. So that's how they can get out of it. But with the lottery tickets, that's just plain gambling. So that is against the law. I mean, customers took another game to court about it, and they changed it. They will never release something like that again, something that players cannot see before they purchase it. But yeah, eventually it will be all down to that, all down to you do it this way, or you get what you can, basically. Unless you get bundles of packs and you don't know what you're getting.
Yeah, I honestly, I've been playing mobile games for a while, and I really can't think of any other games that I've played that are like State of Survival in the fact that you don't know the odds. The gambling aspect on it is, you know, you spend the most money you can essentially just so you're guaranteed something. So yeah, I mean, I actually hadn't thought about that, but no, I can't think of any other games that are like that. You know, that's something they gotta look into.
Okay. See, we don't mention other games names, but I will say it. It was Fortnite. I mean, we all know how big that game is.
Okay, yeah, you have a
Uh,
point.
but
Sorry,
we
I
all
forgot
know,
about that one.
yeah, they was actually taken to court, and they actually settled like before it went into court and said, okay, so we're not going to be doing it anymore. It was all down to some packs that players purchased, and they didn't know what they was getting from the packs. They was thinking they was getting the actual, I think it was some costume or something. I can't remember. But they announced they will not be releasing packs like that again. Which is literally, that is the same like the lottery tickets that we get in State of Survival, but that was made illegal in Europe. Like EU made the law about it. In America, they kind of pushed it a little bit due to COVID situation and so on, but probably won't take long before it becomes illegal there as well. Well, other than that, is it does feel like that's where they're going with most things now, mostly because we will purchase more than what we need. My opinion, anyway.
No, you're absolutely right. You know, I hadn't thought about that. It is essentially a loot crate system, with the almost promise that you're going to get this thing, but chances are you're not. So yeah.
All right.
So just a quick question for Negan. In PTR, Negan, how much plasma did you use, obviously, to hit HQ Plasma 7?
Yeah, it was about, let me see, it was about 9,000.
That's not bad. That's not bad. Considering the exchange with the new polymerized plasma and everything, so okay.
Yeah, it will
problem-
vary for each player, I guess, you know, depending on what they get in terms of the conversion rate. But I'm fairly certain
Yeah.
that we will get, you know, about 30 old plasma per new refined one, roughly around that level, which means that P7 can be reached for around 9,000 plasma. And going back to our discussion, I guess the old players in the old states are probably a little bit favored under the new system, because these are the players who would have, you know, slightly higher stockpile of the old plasma, while the players in the new state who, you know, became maxed recently would probably be less favored by the new system, because they would not have the same amount of plasma stocked, you know, in their backpack. So I guess going back to the question, you know, who benefits more from the new star system?
It's look, like I said, it's inevitable. They will bring it, whether we like it or not. Of course, they do need to make changes. Like, for example, the plasma exchange into polymerized. Do you think that's an actual fair way to actually do it? Like, your opinion?
No, I think they should have stuck with the old plasma and just, you know, have the simple cost structure where we would know that it will cost an X amount of plasma to upgrade to P6, 7, 8, instead of introducing the polymer. I just think it's it's the new and unnecessary currency in the game, and that currency is based anyway on the conversion rate from the old plasma. So I really don't see a sensible explanation why we need that new plasma in the game.
I agree.
They add the new plasma. Look. They add new plasma as a polymer with some odds. As I said before, it's random and it's lucky. For example, if you increase the polymer above the level of 30 cores or something like that, they demand more plasma and they give nothing. That's a problem. They're not the same odds when you polymer. For example, we say we exchange 3 plasma cores to get 1 more polymer or something like that. It's raising the odds, and that is the frustrating side of that part. Yes, I agree. We don't need such kind of plasma, or at least we agree standard polymer size.
That's the point I was trying to get to. Of course, they will release it. It's inevitable. But making it so that we don't know what we're getting from what we've got is not really the best way. Knowing what we like, okay, we've got this much plasma to exchange it for that much polymerized, so we can make our calculations of as well of what packs we're gonna need to purchase in the future and everything is going to actually be a lot better. Instead of just keep getting some, wish me luck. It literally has become a game of luck instead of a game of strategy. So, but that's the point I was trying to get to by asking Negan of the amount of plasma he used. So
Yeah, I think if they are going to make that plasma leakage event permanent, that might somehow cut off some issues that we're facing when it comes to purification or refinement of plasma to polymer. At least if they're going to make that permanent and not just a 2 days event, players have some sources of that polymer by getting that plasma reactor, or what is it called, generator or something. And if they added that to Intel with a plasma generator and then the plasma core, then at least that will somehow make F2P or low standard feel favored a little bit instead of just releasing that for 2 days event. Because at the same time, since we are using 2 kinds in plasma, when it comes to luck, and I'm one of those players who don't have any luck when it comes to gacha things, and I will just end up wasting a lot of plasma cores in purifying just to get polymer plasma myself.
you're not the only one with bad luck. I don't do. I don't buy the tickets, the lottery tickets anymore.
Yeah, I
Trust
agree with you there.
me, man.
Gone downhill.
Imagine that from Christmas event and another one similar to that uses gacha or RNG. I never done that because I haven't got any luck on it. Even the lottery ticket, I stopped playing that for the same reason.
I came in 11th 4 times in a row in the headquarters events. 11th. Yes. Bad luck.
That is the only thing I'm not liking, because it seems like everything seems to be moving towards luck. If you're lucky, you'll get this much. If you're not, you get what you get. But I'm trying to calculate what I need to be able to do this, and that literally just throws the whole strategy game out the window. And this, I might as well go and buy a lottery ticket, and it's cheaper.
Yeah, I think so. So I think we already covered most of the part of the topic for today. And like always, we can always continue after the live stream, like we always do. I think the last episode or episode 3, even they lasted for 6 hours talking. And probably we're going to do that as well. And on behalf of the community, I just wanted to say thank you to all the panelists for today and for those who are the mainstays of this. And supporters. Thank you as always to OZ, to Destroyer, to Dark, to Jonesy, to Gwen, and to what's the other one? Vivid. And at the same time, I just wanted to say thank you to Negan, to Trip, and to Gio, to Uncle Gio for always being around. And just an announcement, guys, that I think we are going to stick with this live stream podcast or the channel stage because it's better. We are not being kicked out, at least by YouTube. And we are now running like 2 hours and 30 minutes without being kicked out. So we might start using that. And at the same time, if you are not in the Colab server and you want to listen to the podcast, if you're busy and you can watch on YouTube or watch on Facebook, you can actually search this because this podcast is actually now in public. So you can search this via the community or public thing, I think, or public discovery or community discovery of Discord. And you don't need to join Colab just to hear this, guys. So you will get like a chance to just click and listen for that one. And for those who missed the first part of this podcast, we are going to update this as always on WordPress, on Spotify. You can always listen to that for Spotify and then Anchor. So we're like everywhere from now. And for the next episode, episode 6, we are going to talk about PvP. So we were going to invite 2 spenders, 2 low spenders, and F2Ps and share their experiences or their little guides on how they survive in the game or what is their gameplay. And on behalf again for the Colab team, I would like to say thank you and thank you for listening to the podcast, guys. Boy, and
Thank you.
the last
Thank you for
code,
having us, Brittany.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks for
the
having me.
last code would be where is Wako the hero? That is our last code, guys. I asked this last week for my manager to make the code before they release Wako. So the code is where is Wako the hero? And again, thank you for watching, guys. Bye.